Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve with another exciting episode of the Let's Play for the Alliance of the Sacred Sons. This is the third video in the series. Today we are going to go over planet operations, projects, and we're going to dive a little bit into character interaction. So before I continue, I do want to let people know that this is a pre-beta version of Alliance. As such, there may be bugs. Things will almost certainly change with the UI. We're planning on refining some things further. So keep in mind it is a work in progress. So if you see a bug or if you see something weird, don't freak out. It's not coming to Steam for several more months. So we're going to have plenty of time to kind of fix and refine everything. But we do want to give people a chance to see the basic gameplay. And if you already have the game, then this is a great tutorial series for you. Okay, so as you recall, our goal, our overarching goal, is to get House Hawken on our side. So to do that, we're going to need to build some projects and we're going to need to do some nice things for them. But to do that, we're first going to need to build up our energy reserves because, as we pointed out, projects take a lot of energy and we don't really have that much energy. So we were going to focus on a few strategies to get more energy in the Empire. One of them that we touched on was research, which we already started last game, or last video. We're also going to dive a little bit into planetary production. Now remember, we looked at Iloa Prime and we looked at their production. We'll go ahead and click on here and we're going to take a look at Iloa Prime. So as you can see, their energy development is not too bad, and that's mainly because we're waiting on the miners to actually go to their mines. But when we do a deeper dive, so we say, okay, why won't the miners go work in the mines? We clearly have miners and we clearly have mines that are just sitting there. So let's take a closer look. So we go through, we can look at each individual region. Now again, we cannot manipulate regions, but it kind of gives us an idea of what's going on the planet on a micro level. As Emperor, you won't have to do this very often. This is just there. You may not ever have to do this, in fact. But if you want to get the nitty-gritty of your planets, this is a good way to do it. So we look and we see it's mainly desert. So we look over here. This shows the number of mines in this particular region. This shows your population, and this shows the infrastructure, whether there's cities or villages or nothing. And then we can see some of these regions have pretty much nobody in them. This one actually has no population. But it does have small villages, which means this was probably an abandoned region. It had small villages at one time. So keep in mind with infrastructure, infrastructure is built organically by pops. As the planet grows, more infrastructure is built. When we say infrastructure, we mean essentially cities, towns, habitable space. You do not directly have to do that. That's done automatically by your people. Your populations actually do a lot autonomously. We'll kind of get into that in a little bit, but essentially this is an abandoned. And then we can kind of look here. We have some people, but you see no overcrowding. But see, we have no mines, so we have no mines, and you can see there's a lot of desert. We don't really we typically don't put a lot in desert. It's not really a great terrain. But oh, look, we have a mountain region, and now look, we've got mines. We've got a ton of mines. Looks like actually all the mines are here, which makes sense because look at the heavy material, which is kind of a mine. It is huge. Great. Mountains are great for mining, as you might expect. So they were built in the mountain region. However, when we look at the population, we see that it's overcrowded, probably because we have academies there, we have some farms there, we have some admin centers there. So this is a very hot region. And so we just don't have a lot of infrastructure there. We only have some small settlements. So we probably need to help this planet build a little bit more infrastructure, and we do that through a project. So the reason that our miners are not filling up is because there's nowhere for them to live. They're basically already 100% overcrowded, and pops generally will not cram themselves in somewhere where there's no room. They can start that way, but they become unhappy. That's actually one of their factors that cause them to look for a new planet when they decide to migrate. So we don't want to lose our miners. What we need to do is we probably need to build some additional infrastructure. Fortunately, we can do just that. If we go to our demographic command mode, you see now see when I go to public order factors, you see we have positives and then we have negatives. And so you can kind of see different factors that go into whether or not a pop will actually leave the planet. And obviously also contributes to the public order. You don't want this to drop too far below about 60. There's a possibility of riots. So, all right, so we will take a look at this particular. So this says upgrade all planet infrastructure. And then this is for upgrading habitable planet infrastructure. So there's two types of space. So you have space for people, which is the habitable planet infrastructure. And then you have space for sectors. This is like your farm sector, your mining sector, your academic sectors, etc. When we think of building a building, remember, we're on a planet-wide scale. So we're not just building like a building or a mine. No, this is a complex, a region, a development of miners. When we talk about a pop, that represents 1 million people. So you just have to think it's kind of a higher scale. So we're not just building a single mine. We're not just building a single farm. We're not just building a single factory. We call it a sector because it is a complex building. So this is what we want to do. Now we see it will cost 150 ADM. We see it will cost 150 energy. It will cost 50 billion credits. And when we go into projects, I'll show you where that comes from. And then 300 300 basic, 50 heavy, and 5 rare. So let's go ahead and click on. This will take us to the project display. Now, you'll be using this a lot. This is one of the primary ways that you as an emperor get things done. Remember I mentioned in the first video that you'll colonize planets this way. You will build things. You will build star bases. Throw celebrations. I mean, there's a lot of things that you will do through the projects. And what projects do, basically, you assign an administrator or a project leader. And then you assign people who are actually going to pay for the project. Now, what's nice about this setup is that, we talked about, okay, we want to make our houses happy. Well, one way to do that is by assigning them to these projects. They're considered very prestigious. And you can see here, the project power gain, so there's 50 power. So whoever takes this project, whatever administrator takes it, there's a total power gain of 50. I, as the emperor, will gain 25 power, and then whoever takes the project will also gain 25 power. So it's split 50-50. So people see that as a boon, and houses also see that as a boon. They want to be involved in projects. It enhances their esteem, it enhances their reputation. So to do a project, it's actually very simple. The first thing we do is we pick a leader, and we go here, and now we can see all the different people. Now, we talked about, obviously you want them to have a good admin skill. This represents the number of contributors that they can have on a project, and sometimes that's handy if you have a very expensive project and you just don't have that many people in your empire that can afford to contribute. And this number is their governmental skill. So what this represents is the higher this number, essentially the more efficient they are with bringing ADM into the project. So let me demonstrate. Let me pick someone that's kind of poor. All right. You see, she is going to take 17 turns because she has a 25 government rating. So when we go here, we can actually tooltip it and see why. You can see here. So we talked about the ADM. There's 144 ADM plus divided by active plus proposed projects. We don't have any active projects, but we do have. This is the proposed project that we're right now. So we take that 144 ADM. And now you look at the project leader skill, minus 75%, because she only has a skill of 25. So we take that from 100. So basically, she's losing 75% of the ADM. She's just not very capable of doing these projects. So she's wasting 75% of the administrative capacity of the empire right now. And then that filters to the province governor, who also has a low skill, looks like, below 50%, below 50. And then the system governor also. So by the time you dribble it through 3 incompetent people, you're down to 9 ADM per turn. And you see that that's what actually goes to the project after basically inefficiency, waste, etc. So you see it takes 150 ADM to actually complete the project. Once 150 ADM is generated, it goes every turn, it adds to the project, then the project is completed and the effects take place. So we have a few issues here. Obviously, we have a poor project leader, but we also seem to have a poor system governor and a poor province governor. So let's kind of back up and let's see, first of all, let's see who our system governor is. Okay, well, you see they have a skill of 13. So they're really bad. But the problem is, this is not my system. You see, it belongs to House Iloa. So I can't just well, I can exile the governor and put someone in their place, but the houses don't like that, and you'll generate a lot of fear. So that's kind of a blunt approach. I could potentially ask the house to replace the governor, and I would do that through an action, which I'll show you in a little bit. Moving out, we look at our province. Now, I have a province governor. This is my province. I always start as the owner of the province because it's the only province and I'm the ruling house. And you can see that her skill is poor too. It's a 26. Now we're friends. So because she is of my house, I could actually replace her. You see, she has a lot of power though. She's power 4, which is actually above mine. I have a 303. If you basically divide by 100, that's your rough rank of power. So I have to decide, is it worth pissing off this person if I basically sack her and replace her? Well, it probably is. And again, there's a lot of different ways to go about the game. This is the way that I'm choosing to go about it. I have decided that it's worth basically making this person upset and replacing her because I don't think I can afford someone with a 26 skill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on her. And this is her character screen. And we'll actually devote an entire video to the character screen because there's a lot going on. There's relationships, there's intel, there's really a lot happening. So what we're going to do is, again, you can see, and she's not good anywhere. I mean, she's just bad. And if you look at her skill sets, this is what we call the skill triangle. Talents are particularly what we're looking for. If you have someone that's intelligent, charismatic, etc., this is going to show up way over here. But she's not particularly intelligent. She's getting older, which means she's really not going to be getting any better. And she might die soon, but I can't count on that. And her health is not good. And we don't have it hooked up yet, but eventually efficiency, the sicker and older they are, the less efficient your characters will be. So that'll be another driving factor in whether to replace them. So I'm going to go to orders, and I'm going to designate for assignment. What that means is basically I'm going to, a little bug there. I'm going to designate for assignment. So basically what it means is I'm going to replace her with someone else. So this is where we can kind of look and go, okay, who can I put in? Do I want to put someone in my house and know that I can control them? Because basically people in my house will do what I ask them to do because I have good relationships with them. Or do I want to put someone else in? Do I maybe want to put in someone from Hawken? Let's take a look at their government skill. Okay, I don't have anyone from House Hawken. Let's see if I have anyone from okay, I do have some Igaraja Bass. So let's actually go by government. So, okay, so her government is not very good, and they're not really known for their government. So what about Iloa? Let's see if they have someone available. Let's take a look at their administration. Okay, so now we don't know. Now another thing is we don't know. If you've noticed, you don't necessarily see everybody's ratings, because you have to have a certain level of intel on your characters. If you don't have enough intel, you get intel basically by talking to them, interacting with them, or by assigning inquisitors, or by having them on a planet that has inquisitors or informers on there and that grows organically. So we don't really know whether she'd be any good. Let's see about her. No. Okay, so let's go back to, I guess we'll just go back to us. Let's see. All right. No. No. All right. Well, so if you recall, Waldegrave, let's see if Waldegrave would be any good. Okay, I only have one person there. Okay, but they've got some pretty high skills. So basically, I'm kind of shooting in the dark as whether to replace her. I don't seem to have anyone right now that's any better. Let's just do this. Let's go all houses, and let's go government. And let's just see what comes up. So we have, okay, the best person that I know of in the Empire right now that's actually available, and these are called Courtiers. These are people that are not currently, they're in your court, but they're not current, they're jobless, essentially. She's bedridden, which is not great. She's okay with government. Let's get a little more information. Well, okay, so right now, she has a grudge level of 18 and a trust level of 50. So she's got a little bit of a grudge. She may actually not be someone I want to do. So let's take a look at my guy. But see, I don't have anybody right now that's good with government. This is literally the best person I have. It's crazy, but she may be the best person to switch. So now the good news is we're friends already, so she probably won't do anything weird. You typically don't want to put a province governor in that has bad relations with you, because they can really mess up your province output. So we're going to go ahead and do it. It's going to be an improvement. It's unfortunate that she's bedridden, but, and the other nice thing is their house will appreciate it too. So let's go ahead and confirm. All right. So this tells us now on success, basically her trust is going to drop by 10. Her grudge is going to drop a little bit. And then I'm going to add 10 power. But if I fail, if she doesn't go, then basically I'm going to lose 10 power. Okay. There's a little, but this should actually be reversed. So, but it looks like she will almost certainly accede. Your Grand Vizier will give you a percentage chance. Now you can either do a friendly contact, or if you want to intimidate, you can actually do it intimidating. Now this gives you a few extra things. You can add pressure, which you can actually ask characters to add pressure to their subordinates. It's basically them using their resources to say, hey, you better do what the governor or what the emperor asks. But you see, when I do that, my success and fail increase because I'm putting more pressure. You also see combat power. Yes, you can actually send fleets into their system over their planet to actually intimidate them. So you can build a fleet, kind of like the Empire in Star Wars. You can compel their loyalty by having a huge fleet over their planet. But I'm not going to do that. I don't need to do that, most of which because my intimidation is low. I don't have any fleets, and my power difference is low. You're always going to antagonize someone when you do it this way. So we'll just do it the friendly way. You notice it costs 1 AP to talk. So we have our conversation. So remember, you're talking to real people. And here we go. Okay. So she went, but she wasn't happy about it. So I technically, even though she left the post, I lost the interaction because she wasn't happy about it. So she's going to be telling everybody basically what a bad person I am. So you'll notice now we were friends, now we're indifferent. So we've dropped, and you see her trust has dropped all the way down to here. So we're close to actually being in a negative relationship, like a rivals or whatnot. So she's not very happy. But now let me show you something. So now we talked about making our houses happy. So remember, Halcyon Musharraf. So we put someone in that is basically their friend. So what you will see, you will start to see this positive go up because we've done something positive for them. And remember, it's kind of about relationships. Let's go back to Iloa, and let's go ahead and finish the project now that we have someone in place who will make it a little bit better. So we'll come back over here. We'll go ahead and open it up. All right, so we'll pick actually a better leader. We will pick, I prefer to pick someone from Iloa. Okay, here we go. Here's someone with 78. Okay, whoa, look at that, 5 turns. Wow, it was like 17. Well, because we took the time to go in and we changed our setup. So now when we go to overview, now look, 35 are going because look, project leader skill is -3. Oh, well, how? That's weird. But Steve, his skill is 78, so shouldn't it be like -22? Normally, yes, but we have what's called synergy. So if a system governor and province governor are all the same house as the project leader, then they actually boost each other's stats. They're considered to be in synergy. So the province governor is obviously not of the same house, but the system governor is. So he's getting a little bit of a boost for that. So now you see it will only take 5 turns. So the next step is we want to pick contributors. So basically all we want to do, this shows their amount of wealth, personal wealth, and then what the percentage they're willing to contribute towards the project. And this varies greatly depending on the house leader. People that have negative relationships with the house leader typically won't help them. So that's why you see a lot fewer people available than you do for project leaders. So people generally want to be a project leader. It's considered prestigious. So kind of keeping it in the family, I'm going to go ahead and see if I have someone from Iloa that is willing to, okay, I have a 40% and 8%. So I'm going to go ahead and add this person. He is actually a system governor, which is nice. And I'm going to go ahead and add her as well. So now you see we have combined over 100%. So it scales. So basically he's going to be contributing 40%. She's going to be contributing the rest. So now you see I have 100% funding. These are my two contributors. I need to fix that. And now we initiate the project. So now you see I have an active project. You can kind of see the stats. If you don't know a project that's happening, so this is, say it's another house is doing a project, a lot of this information will be question marked. You can actually send an inquisitor and we'll kind of get to that when that comes up. So now I've created a project on Iloa Prime, and you can see that it is to upgrade the habitable planet infrastructure. What that will do is that will basically build more cities around, and it will prioritize regions that already are crowded, which is including the one we're looking at. So after that's done, that should start to get the miners back to work, or the energy people back to work, and that should help our cause. All right. Oh, look, we've got some extra things that have popped up. So let's kind of look at. So we have two different kinds of comms. We have white comms, and then we have yellow comms. Yellow comms are called reaction comms. They happen during a turn, depending on things that you do. They don't cost any AP to do. So you notice my AP, I started out with 7. I now have 4. I lost 1 AP because I replaced the province governor, and then 2 for the project. All right, so let's see what somebody has to say. Oh, look, it's Iloa's House Leader. I want you to know that House Iloa deeply appreciates your helping us with this project. We should not forget the good that is done by you. Oh, that's nice. Your thanks is graciously accepted. Oh, that's nice. Let's see if that's reciprocated. Oh, look, we've got a little green bar. So she's a little, even though she doesn't like me, you can see it. We have vengeance relations. She is not a fan. She admits that, look, you're helping me out. This is something you've done good for me. So when you do something good for their house, then they will appreciate it. She doesn't appreciate it very much, but it's a start. And let's see, who's this? Oh, look, it's our Waldegrave. I am quite upset that you have decided that House Waldegrave should not be a part of your Empire's plans. We are displeased. Good to know. Now get the hell off my comm. Now, if you remember from my verse video, I said Waldegrave, their house tends to be military. They tend to be kind of brutish. They tend to be aggressive. So you notice not every house chimed in, because some houses don't care that much about it. They all have personality, especially their house leaders. So if their house leader doesn't care that much, they're not going to chime in. So let's take a look and let's see what happened with Waldegrave. Oh boy, whoa, they did not like being left out of that. So remember, you have to take into account people's personalities. When we look at this guy, when we click on his information, so we look at his emotions, you see his motives are off the charts. So that guy, he's very passionate about, he's very driven and very passionate. And so that can work both ways. He makes a great friend if you need someone to get something done, and if he's on your side, this would be a great person to have on my side. Unfortunately, he's not, so he's going to be kind of a pain in my posterior. So I just want to show you what that kind of did with that. So, all right, so we have a regular comm. That does cost 1 to do. So it's also from Waldegrave. Fantastic. Well, let's see. I have 4 AP left. So let's see what he has to say. Emperor Hawkstorm, I hope this finds you well. As it happens, House Waldegrave is light on basic materials. It would make us quite happy if you were to appropriate some into our stockpiles, perhaps 75 tons. Could that be arranged? So what he's asking me for, he's asking me for materials. He's asking me as a favor. Now, you can also be threatened, but this is not a threat. It says this is a request and can be accepted without loss of power. Sometimes they threaten you openly, and if you decline, or if you accept, if you acquiesce to the threat, you lose power. You lose face among your people. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to right-click out, so you see that this is an answered comm. So you see now I can't go any further. I can kind of put the comm off to the side while I research it, but I can't go any further. So let's take a look at our basic materials. So I have 1,704 basic materials. I mean, 25 is not that bad, and I need to do something because I really just pissed him off. And like I said, I don't want to get Waldegrave in a war with me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get on bended knee and give this guy 75 tons. So what that 75 tons will come out of but he's going to trust me a little bit more. And we can see this by going into Waldegrave. And then we can see, we click on him. Now you see, we're still vengeance, but you see my trust bar has gone up. So if it gets all the way to the top, there's a chance we may increase our relationship. So we may just be shunning or rivals, which is actually better than vengeance. So he won't actively be trying to plot against me and hurt me. So, okay. And all it costs me is 75 materials. Sometimes they ask for 300 or 400. And if they ask for 300 or 400 energy, I only have 1,400 energy. it's like, I don't know if that's really worth it. All right, so looking at the planet view, so we use this a lot. We use the demographic view to get a sense of where people are coming and going. Now we're going to kind of improve the galaxy level view so you can kind of see lines of where pops are coming and going. But you see each command mode has a main window, and then there's sub windows here. Like here's an overview, and then there's typically like a region list. The economic view will probably change a little bit. Right now it's got wings. We'll probably change that a little bit. And then we have our government view. It shows you the ADM and how that's developed. Remember where I was talking about leadership hierarchy? So you can see here, here's our system governor, and here's our viceroy. So if our province governor was also Iloa, there would be synergy. So any project I did on this planet would get a huge ADM boost. If you had 3 different houses, or you had a project leader that wasn't of that house, then you would not have that boost. It would just be a regular. It would just be a regular thing. And then Intel is also kind of shows you can here's where you can train a new Inquisitor, but of course we don't have any, as we explained in the first one, we don't have any capacity because we only have 1 EIC in the Empire, and we already have 3 Inquisitors. So, all right. So we have a event. So we're going to go ahead and do the event. This is kind of a building your character. Everybody gets these. These are essentially 3 events. I'm a science guy, so I'm going to go ahead and click on science. Oh, I've gained the Renaissance Man trait. Exciting. So that means, what does Renaissance Man do for me? Well, let's find out. So we have our skills, and we're going to devote a chapter just to the Emperor. They have a whole skill tree or a series of skill trees, but Renaissance Man gains 15 power immediately on adoption. As you can see, my power went up. So that's good because my power was dipped into the 200s. And again, power is everything. You do not ever want to let your power dip below about 150, or you're going to have to take some pretty drastic measures, or else really start to get the people on your side, which means shoveling a lot of money into domestic your domestic budget. Okay, so I have 3 AP left. So I've accomplished part of my goal, which is to check here for energy. Let's take a look and see how our research is doing. So remember, we had prosperity. So we're at 8% breakthrough. So basically we have, and there is a bug, by the way, when you load a save game, it's not showing the status of the nodes. These should be colored yellow if they're available, but it still works underneath. It just doesn't show the actual color correctly. But so I have an 8% chance. That means every turn, because I'm putting 12 science points into this category, next turn I should get 16%, and then the game basically rolls a 1d100. And then if that roll is below this number, then I get one of these available techs. I don't get to choose, and that's why I get to kill a tech if it's, say, not available. So, all right, so I've got 3 points left. So there's a lot I could be working on. So remember, I want to kind of suck up to Hawkins. So it wasn't really working out that they had any good. I would have put them on as a project leader. So what I can do is I can suck up to their Grand Duke, who is their house leader. So you see we're rivals. So I'm going to kind of see what I can do with him. We're a rival, and basically his trust with me is 0. So it could go even lower next turn. So let's see if there's anything I can do diplomatically to kind of soothe things over. So I can express my support, which what that does, it basically puts you out before the Empire, says, you know, I support Julius. He is a great man, and, you know, House Hawken is an amazing house. And that costs me 20. I have to have it. If I fail with it, it costs me 20 power. This shows you how much, if you fail, the power, which you saw from the screen. This shows me the minimum level of intel I need on the character in order to do these things. So right now I can do express support, but I can't do these more, I guess, intimate things because I don't know him well enough. So how do I get to know him? Well, I get to know character. This is just me calling up saying, hey, I want to get to know you. Let's spend some time. Let's see what happens when I do that. Well, working on fairly solid intel, it appears that Julius will not agree to this request. He hates me. Vengeance is a very, very bad. It's about the lowest you can go. He's really not interested in spending time with me. Even if I intimidate him, I have nothing to intimidate him with. My intimidation is weak. I don't have that big a power difference. I have no fleets above him, and there's nobody putting pressure on him. So probably don't want to do that. So here's a very powerful one. This is called Make Public Surrender. So this is basically me on bended knee before the empire saying, Julius, I am so sorry. You are amazing. You are a classic man. You are the cock of the walk, whatever. You're basically prostrating yourself before your people, saying that this guy is great. The good news is it pretty much always works because people like to be flattered. The bad news is it will always cost you 30 power, always. But you see the success you get. I mean, you get a huge boost. So even though it's going to cost me 30 power, which is about 10% of my total power right now, I think it's worth it at this early stage to go ahead and just get out there and just try to get this relationship improved, at least to the point where he'll start agreeing to other things. Because you saw he hates me so much, he's not willing to do anything, which is going to hurt me because he's a house that I need. So we'll go ahead, friendly contact. Well, then the new young bastard in charge. So yes, there is a complete speech engine, and they talk as they would. Your words have gone a long way towards healing my anger towards you. Your deeds will complete the task. I accept your offer. Okay, well, I've humiliated myself in front of everybody, but you see my power dropped quite a bit. There's actually a bug. It looks like it's hitting twice. I need to fix that. So, but you see now, look, he's gone all the way up. So hopefully next turn we'll be a little less than rivals. Maybe we won't be friends. Oh, actually, yes, we are rivals. Remember, we were vengeance, so now we're rivals. So hopefully we'll get up to either shunning or indifferent, which is a plus. And you see the tension went up a little. You see, it's because I basically, again, prostrated myself in front of the whole empire and said how great this house leader was. My reputation with the house has gone up a little bit. So sometimes you have to do some bad things. So one other thing I want to do, I have 2 AP left. I'm going to go ahead and assign an Inquisitor to him, and I'm just going to go a different way. I'm going to go through the character nexus, and these are all my house leaders. So I'm just going to go directly to him this way. So I'm going to go ahead and click on him here. This will go ahead and open it up. And I'm going to go ahead and click on, and I'm going to assign an Inquisitor. What this will let me do, you see my intel. He's still not willing to talk to me. Now, there's a couple ways I could get intel on him without assigning an Inquisitor. I could build an Empire Intelligence Center on his planet. I can send an Inquisitor to his planet without going with him directly and doing what's called passive intel or active intel. But then it's kind of diffused. Or I can just assign directly, which I'll get a lot more information on him, but I will only get information on him. But right now, I think it's important to kind of learn more about this guy. So you see, I basically have 3 people. They're all about the same. His skills are a little higher. So I'm going to go ahead and assign him to Julius. You see, he now has, when I go to Intel, I now have additional options. And we'll get into the Intel in another video because that's kind of its own section. But you see now, he will start to gather information. Once he goes out there, he'll have to fly out to the planet and get ready. But once he flies out to Shu, which is their home base, he'll be able to gather information. Okay, so I have 1 point left. So I'm going to take care of myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rest. This is my spirit. We'll get into that. Again, we have a whole video devoted to the Emperor, but just know this is your mental health. I'm okay. It's not, but I'd like to rest a little bit or engage in hobby. Hobby will actually, you see, it cost me an AP, but now I got to do something fun. So now my spirit went up a little bit more. So, all right, I'm out of action points. All right, so that's it for this turn. So you got to see a little bit of planet operations, a little bit of how you go through the modes, what information you can see. You got to see how a project was created and what things you should consider when you create a project, and you got to see their effects. You got to see characters and actions and how that works a little bit, and how different actions have different results, and how different actions can be either accepted or declined based on your relationship and the type of request. And we talked a little bit about house relations and how to improve house relations, and then some of the factors that decrease relations, including requests and events. All right, that's it for this turn. We'll be back with another episode. Next episode, we're going to go a little bit more deeply into houses, and we're going to talk a lot more about house relations and what you can do to improve houses relations, because that's a big part of the game. Have a great day.